If you deflect, you're going to say things like it's their fault. Or you're going to say, well, I can't help it. Essentially, you're just kind of deflecting the guilt off of yourself and you're redirecting it somewhere else. And as long as it's not my fault, that means I don't have to carry the guilt. The problem with deflection is that it doesn't work. Because I think that we know deep down in our hearts, deep down in our souls, that we don't even live up to our own standards. We have standards and ways in which we think other people should live, ways we think we should live, and we don't even live up to our own standards. Everyone is a hypocrite. So even though you may be able to blame someone or something else, it doesn't mean you're never at fault, because we're all guilty. So maybe you don't deflect, maybe you deny. Maybe you say things like, well, my guilt isn't as bad as their guilt, or at least I'm better than them. There's a guy named Jean Leroux who started a group called Misfit Preachers who said this. He said, if the biggest sinner you know isn't you, then you don't know yourself very well. It's an interesting quote, isn't it? We're going to talk about that word sin a little bit later, but it's a fascinating statement. Is it true that you are the most guilty person you know? It's easy to look around the world and see people who are much more guilty than you, right? It's easy to find people who failed much more significantly than you, people who are way worse than you, people who ought to be carrying way more guilt than you. And so we compare ourselves to them and we say, nope, I'm not as bad as they are. Just because my failures aren't as public as someone else's failures doesn't mean I'm perfect. Really, the only failures I know about other people are their big failures. I know all of mine. I know the big ones, I know the small ones. I know all of my little wrongs, all the secret failures. In fact, I know all the wrong that I think about. I know my darkest thoughts. I know how bad I could be, and I know how bad I am, even if the public doesn't know. And so my failures may be smaller, at least publicly, but if you take them together, if you accumulate the sum of them, it becomes so much bigger than anything I know about you. And so we go back to this quote, it's true. Denial doesn't work because you can deflect and you can deny, but the reality is you still have guilt. My failures, my guilt, it's still there. And the longer I refuse to acknowledge that I have a problem, the longer I keep my sin problem.